4:30. We will call the special call a meeting for purchasing committee on February 18th, 2025 to order. Carl, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Boyd?
Here.
Commissioner Gooch? Commissioner Phillips?
Present.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Present.
Commissioner Peake?
Here.
Chairman Clark?
Here.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody for public comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have two items under advisement. We have an RFP for body removal and transport. That would be Denise Martin. Oh, there she is. Come on up, Denise. Tell us, you've taken this under advisement, so are you ready to submit a recommendation to the committee?
Unfortunately not, and I do apologise. I know this is a special meeting, but I would recommend that we defer it until March. There's still several things that are under review for both responses.
Could you mind elaborating a little bit? Or just, and I want you to be careful in elaborating, but can you elaborate just a little bit for the committee?
Some of the requirements, mandatory requirements, that there is still some information that we need from both responses, primarily to do with insurance.
Is there cause for concern?
Just that they haven't met them, so
Okay.
I'd like
Well, when you
to-
say insurance, that raises a little bit of a red flag with me, so.
Certainly. No, I don't think there's any cause for concern. I think maybe that we just haven't been provided enough information to be able to say apples to apples at this
Oh, okay,
point.
I see what you're saying.
Move to defer.
We have a motion to defer, we have a second. We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of deferring to the March meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. March meeting.
If I'm not mistaken, what's the name of the company that's doing it now?
Triangle?
Yeah. I keep thinking Woodfin's okay, but they're still doing it and doing it now, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Nothing has changed until the.
And they were one of the bidders, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you. Do you anticipate having an answer for the committee on the 11th?
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. That is a good answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Peake?
Next is the RFP GPS Monitoring Services, Mr. Hennessy. So Mr. Hennessy is undertaking this. Eric, why don't you explain what you've done, if that committee doesn't already know, and what your recommendation is, if you have one.
So I'll start with the back side of that. I do not have a recommendation yet. I will say that
We're 0 for 2. Sorry, gentlemen.
Nick and I have reviewed all 4 that we have received. There's 2 statutes that are involved in this that have multiple parts, and we are going through all of those, trying to make sure that everything is matching, and it's just taking a little bit longer than we had anticipated. I do believe we would have an answer by March the 11th.
Okay. So your recommendation is to defer a recommendation until March 11th?
So whatever the March.
Yes, that would be the
purchasing-
next appointed meeting for purchasing.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion on pushing this to the March 11th purchasing meeting? Seeing none, if there's no objection, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Like Ms. Martin, you think you'll be able to have a recommendation on March 11th?
I do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any other business before the committee?
This has just kind of popped in my head a little bit. This is a special call meeting, okay?
Yes, sir.
To consider 2 items that
Yes,
we
sir.
couldn't consider. Is there any reason, and I'm not trying to make a hill out of a molehill.
I know where you're going, and I'm wondering the same thing.
Why in the world would we have a special meeting when we could,
I do not know the answer to
when
that.
both of these meetings could have just, both of these decisions could have
Could
been
have been on
made?
March 11th anyway. Exactly.
The only one you can ask is the one that was present at the last meeting. Why?
Well, let me just say this, I don't know the answer to that, Commissioner, but I will find out, and I have an answer for you on March 11th, because,
I can tell you why we did it.
a special call meeting?
Yeah, because
Please.
we took this under, they took this under advisement to bring it back to special call meeting to get it done. But for whatever reason, we didn't get the information that it wasn't gonna happen, and so we could call it off. I can't answer to that.
You know, my thought was, why did we, last week, when we made that decision to take these under advisement, why couldn't we have just taken it under advisement to the March meeting?
That I do not know. I do not know why a special meeting was called, but I will find out at the previous meeting.
Enough said, thank you.
I'm sorry.
That's enough said.
Yeah.
Well, I share your concern because, you know, I will say this, in defense of Mr. Hennessy, he had every intention of making a recommendation up to about 3:30, trying to get with Nick. Nick was out with the flu, and he just didn't feel comfortable making a recommendation without consulting with the county attorney. Yes, and so he was ready to make a recommendation, but only with the county attorney's sign off on that recommendation, and Nick hadn't had a chance to do the necessary review because he's had the flu. But with regard to why a special call meeting was called, I can't answer that, but I will on March 11th. Any other questions? Seeing none, we're adjourned.